And when I get that feeling, I need textual ceiling.
Good morning, sweet world, and welcome to the No Dunks podcast on the Athletic Network. It's Thursday, April 20th, 2023. Happy Weed Day. I'm J.E. Skeets, here in the Classic Factory, and alongside me, as always, that's Tess Mellis.
Thanks for reminding me, Skeets. I totally forgot about Weed Day.
Next to him, I know he didn't forget, it's the bearded one, Matasha Hot Boy, Trey Kirby.
Heyo.
Hey-o. Say it again for the mic.
Heyo.
Okay, I'm not hearing it. Am I crazy?
No.
Hey.
Heyo.
Oh.
There we go.
And over yonder,
He's celebrating early.
producing this bad boy. We got two of them over there. It's Ash and JD.
How y'all doing?
This man is greened up.
Yeah, man. I thought you were a Hawks fan. What the hell?
What are you talking about? Hawks
Jesus,
fan?
you got Hawks season tickets.
No, you're right. I'll be in Hawks gear on Friday. I'll be at the Fortress.
Fair enough. Shout out to the stream team joining us live on YouTube. Like the vid, comment away, subscribe to No Dunks. Get your No Dunks merch over at nodunks.com. And if you're a Survivor fan, there was one of those episodes last night. So we'll be breaking it down on No Buffs, recapping episode 8. Fun one to talk about as we get back into the groove of things with me coming back here. That'll be at 1 p.m. Eastern over at the No Buffs YouTube page, and obviously gets turned around into a own podcast feed. Search for No Buffs Survivor 44. But we got games to talk about. You guys did a great job holding down the fort. You guys had some lengthy shows. Holy
How do you do it, man? How do you keep the time in your head while you're getting the takes out of your mouth?
I know, man. I know.
Playoff
They were great.
mode. It's playoff mode.
Yeah,
It is playoff
the
mode.
Monday wasn't
Excited.
surprising. I think the Tuesday was still a real
Nobody was expecting.
meaty one.
That's a chunky 100.
We gotta respect the Kings. No one's talked about the Kings for 16 years in the playoffs. They get an extra 40 minutes.
Good point. But good stuff. I really enjoyed those. I caught all of Wednesdays and then a few there, bits and pieces of Mondays and Tuesdays. Yeah.
Your marathon was too quick to catch any of them.
Yeah, no. Slowed down there, didn't I?
Yeah, we were tracking.
Turns out Boston Marathon's tough. Not easy. Thought I could win it. But yeah, I had some crazy weather. I don't know if you saw the one clip I shared where the torrential downpour at the end. That was fun.
Were your feet wet?
Oh, God. Yeah, it was raining at the start of the race. I got a black second toe. Just completely black nail. Looked like I painted it. It's quite painful.
Yeah,
but I had a blast, and shout out to all the volunteers and spectators and everybody, all the race officials. It is so much fun. If you ever get a chance to go see it, even, to take in the elite runners, men's and women's, you should. Just try and pick a year where it doesn't rain.
I thought you were going to say if you ever have a chance to go run it,
Well,
go do it. And I was like, well, I don't think I'll ever have that
I'll cheer
chance.
you on. No, the older you get, the easier it gets to qualify.
And to run. I've noticed that. The older you get, you can run a lot faster.
Yeah.
You ran way faster than Zdeno Chara, 6'7".
I did see that.
NHLer. You ran like
impressive.
3:37.
That's not a bad time for a big dude.
Well, he did it in skates. That's very impressive.
Well, I'm pumped to be back. It was great to just sit down in front of the television last night and watch a bunch of NBA games, and then to sit here and fire off the takes with you guys. Were they the most exciting games? Some of them were not, but this first one we'll start with no Ja Morant, no problem. Grizzlies tied up with the Lakers. 1-1. What was your big takeaway from this game 2 here in Memphis?
Well, it was funny. A lot of the comments in the games and post-game, a lot of chatter. I know we'll get to Dillon Brooks, but I thought this quote from Austin Reeves was the most telling of the game. He said, "They were desperate, and they played harder than us." End quote. Straight up. That's what happened. Although at the beginning of the game, it did seem like the Lakers kind of had the Grizzlies' number. They were up 5-4 at the beginning of the game, and that's when the Grizzlies turned it on. They started running faster than the Los Angeles Lakers. They just got out ahead of them. Bane started hitting shots, although his line isn't all that sexy. He had 10 first-quarter points to just turn it when things didn't look all that good, when the Lakers were just in control a little bit, and they started beating the Lakers down the floor. Xavier Tillman hit a layup, then Bane hit a layup, then Tillman again hit a layup, and then Tillman stopped Davis, and then scored on Davis. And if you go back and watch Game 1, the Lakers were actually outrunning the Grizzlies. That wasn't supposed to happen in this series. They won the fast break point battle by 9 in the first game, and it was a lot closer in the second game. And if Tillman is beating you down the floor, Reeves' quote is exactly right. if Xavier Tillman, who's in there just to junk it up and do the little things, is beating you down the floor, they were working harder than them. They got out to that third quarter lead. Dillon Brooks did some trash talking and all that, and that lead was just too big for the Lakers to overcome because this was the Grizzlies' night. They hadn't lost 2 games in a row at home all season long, and they weren't going to let that happen. And they were outworked. Just back to Dillon Brooks, he sealed it in the fourth quarter. They're up 8, but Tillman got the offensive rebound. That man had 22 points and 13 rebounds, and that offensive rebound, his 5th of the night, he sent it out to Brooks for the 3, made it 11, and it was over. That Tillman line, man, that is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I'm not disrespecting Xavier Tillman because X was my X factor coming into this series,
Yep.
Xavier Tillman. But when he's outscoring Anthony Davis, something's wrong. I didn't expect him to outscore Anthony Davis once in this series, but the fact that he did a good job on him. 22 points and AD had 13. The Grizzlies just weren't going to lose this one, really. They did outwork the Lakers.
And we know they're good, even if Ja Morant isn't playing. Over the last 2 years, I think their record's 27-8. Without their superstar in the lineup. So, you've got Tyus Jones. I love the pub he's getting here, and everybody's just like locked in that he is the best backup point guard in the league.
That's all anyone ever says about him.
I know.
Oh, I heard highest paid backup point guard
they
last
did slip
night.
that
Didn't
in.
realize that.
Yeah, but he had a good game at least in San Antonio. I thought he had great chemistry with Xavier Tillman, the sort of 2-man game they had going. But everybody contributed. Were you shocked though from this result, TK?
No, not really, because 2 major no-dunks concepts came through for the teams here. Number 1, Lakers slackitude. 100%. That's what happened. You heard it from basically everybody. You even heard it from Darvin Ham in the huddle when he's saying it's 1st to 4, not 1st to 1. Calling him out for saying, you're not giving the proper effort here. 5 turnovers in the first quarter for the Lakers. This is going to be a series that is won and lost in transition. These are 2 of the best transition teams in the league, so you got to take care of the ball. But more importantly, guys being dudes. Even more so, Grizz being dudes. They are very good at this. They're used to playing without Ja. They have a different look to the team. Tillman was great. John Conchar was great with the energy. Blocked Anthony Davis at the rim for dunks 2 times. Great effort from him. David Roddy was out there hitting threes. And then, when Ja Morant is off the court, it allows the Grizzlies to play more shooting. Kennard is on the floor quite a bit. Bane is a great shooter as well. That's 2 tough guys to guard. You have Tillman set the screen. That means AD, it's pick your poison. Is he going to step out onto a 45% three-point shooter? He kind of has to. And if he does, that's a roll for Tillman. So big shout out to Tillman, a career high in points, most rebounds he's had all season. That was probably even the bigger number in this game, the way they were able to keep AD off the glass and dominate in an area that they usually do. It was great. Grizzlies D was completely on point. I thought with 3 minutes left, they're up 8. The Lakers are trying to get back into it. LA had just scored multiple points, just lobbing the ball into the inside, throwing it to the rim. It was either LeBron or AD catching it for an easy layup. This time, though, they pressured the ball, made the pass impossible to get to AD, ended up being a shot clock violation. It was a 3-pointer for the Lakers, and this was a night that they could not hit threes. So great defense all night against Anthony Davis. Made it tough to catch. Then when he did, there was 3 or 4 guys just waiting for him, knowing that the Lakers couldn't do it from 3.
Yeah, AD and D'Angelo Russell combined to shoot 6 for 25. 18 points total between those 2 guys, AD and Russell, after the great opener there in that series where they combined for 41.
Yeah, they were all over AD. It's true. They were just ready to throw multiple bodies at him. And he started the game off well defensively, blocking a couple times early in that first quarter, but just didn't seem like they all had the legs to battle this Grizzlies team that wasn't going to let it happen.
I like that the Grizzlies had an answer at the end of the third quarter, too, because Rui sort of caught fire in the third. He was hitting some tough shots. They had cut that big Grizzlies lead. I think it was 20 at one point. It was down to a very reasonable 6-point score at that point. It was 73-67. But the Grizzlies finished that quarter on a 10-4 run, and a lot of it was those 3-pointers, like you said there, Trey. Kennard hit one off a dime from a big man. I think that one was Jaren Jackson Jr., and David the Body Roddy, he hit one as well there off of a Tillman, I believe, pass. So both coming from their big men. That was just like, you just need that little breathing room to get in that final quarter where they were still having to sort of stiff arm the Lakers and LeBron trying to take over and get them back in it. But they did a great job of answering the inevitable Lakers run. And we've seen that in all these playoff games already. I mean, these big leads, and then the team comes back, and it's whether or not you can sort of sustain it in the end, even if you sort of give back up that lead to get it back, like we'll get to in the Nuggets-Wolves game there. But that was a great answer, and we'll see here if Ja Morant plays Now in Game 3, he was standing all game. It's like he had standing room only tickets. Maybe he got them cheap. Didn't have a seat. But he had that weird sort of wrap there on his hand. And
That's a big wrap.
yeah. I would expect we'll see him at some point in this series, and it could be as early in Game 3 because I don't think they play for a bit.
Yeah, that's totally true. I think if you mentioned all those guys hitting shots and David Roddy and Kennard, the fact that Jaren Jackson Jr. came back to earth a little bit after his 31-point performance in Game 1, probably to be expected. But they won a game where Jaren Jackson Jr. scored 18 points and Ja Morant wasn't playing. That's the Grizzlies' MO. That's what they've done. So it's not totally surprising. There's always that discussion, which is the dumbest discussion in the world. Are they better without Ja Morant? In the regular season, they can win a lot of games without Ja Morant, but in a postseason matchup, if he doesn't play, then the Lakers are going to play. They have a higher ceiling. They're going to play better in Game 3, especially with what Dillon Brooks said. They're going to have a big Saturday. This is just the way it is. We're going to have a back and forth in this series. It should go long, but I'm scared for the Grizzlies on Saturday.
Because of mainly what Dillon Brooks
Partly.
was saying within the game and then after the game?
Yeah, a lot of it. The Lakers are going to bounce back. They're in front of their full home crowd for the first time in a long time in the playoffs because of COVID. So, yeah, and that guy, Dillon. Come on, Dillon. I get it. On the floor. But he's poking the bear a little too much, I think.
That's what he does. I poke bears. Don't stop now.
Especially old ones.
Yeah, old bear.
You're old. He even said, man, I would have loved to be able to guard him against Cleveland or Miami. This isn't hard enough for me. It's basically what Dillon Brooks is saying.
Yep.
And he's right. LeBron's never scored 40 on him.
Yeah,
That is the most fascinating part of this. 40? That's the bar? Like, that's your good defensive
specifically is the
effort?
bar.
Like, don't get me wrong. Like, he obviously tries his ass off.
Yeah.
He gives up a lot of height to LeBron, but he is strong and he won't back down. And he did a good job. Hit shots when he needed to. He loves to bark. Like, Dillon Brooks looked at this as a win because he sort of got under LeBron's skin enough that LeBron was, barking back to some extent. Like, that to Brooks is like, got him.
He talked trash to me.
Yes. And so now I've got him exactly where I want him. But then, after the game, the old poking the bear, he hasn't scored 40 on me. Like, how much would you bet on LeBron scoring 40 in Game 3, in all honesty?
I think the odds are probably like even.
Yeah.
Plus 105. There's probably a line
I think
out
so
there.
too.
The quote was, "I don't care. He's old." You know what I mean? And that had our Joe Varden, who's covered LeBron for a long time in the Athletic Slack channel, just start typing away real quick, saying, "I have never heard this before in my decade of covering this. Somebody's got to get on. We got to write a story about this." And then he went on to say, "I only respect guys that drop 40 on me." And I wish
I think that is the most insane line I've ever heard.
Why do you say that?
40 points, Tats? Like, that's the bar? That's a
40's the new 30.
Oh my God! Come on! That's ridiculous to me. I love Ziller's idea though. If LeBron, let's say, scores 40 plus in Game 3, a majority coming on Dillon Brooks' head, will LeBron show up at post-game media availability with like a cane or a walker? Will he come in a diaper? What will he do? What old man move will LeBron do to really stick it to Dillon?
He should
I think it's in play.
he should wear like gigantic baggy jeans and like that huge shirt, backwards hat, carry a PlayStation into a game, like that photo of him from his rookie season where he's like, he was a young man who still traveled with a PlayStation in between games. He'd be like, "Hey, you wanted Cleveland, LeBron? You got him tonight, Dillon."
Brings out his flip phone that he used to take a photograph of WWE. Yeah, that could happen. He didn't even stop there. He just went on and on. He said, "I wish I guarded him when he was playing on Cleveland and Miami because that was the best LeBron." And he basically said if he wants to play the one-on-one battle or if he wants to be out on the sideline shooting the basketball, we'll see. So he got specific. This guy's just a three-point shooter. He doesn't want to come in the lane. There's going to be a lot of physicality. Right now, LeBron is getting ready for Saturday. That's just a call out for one of the greatest ever.
Because Brooks is saying he believes he can sort of wear down LeBron over the course of the series because of his age. All these little bumps here and there, try and get under his skin, get him flustered, get him mad, get him obviously just shooting on the perimeter. That's Dillon Brooks, what he thinks he can pull off here.
Yeah. The problem with Dillon Brooks is that
Nobody likes him?
Well, his teammates like him.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
the bravado is holding true. I think the problem with all of his outfits is that he takes his shirt off, and LeBron has seen him with his shirt off, and we've seen LeBron with his shirt off. And there's a muscularity discrepancy. I think LeBron is comfortable going against that bot, is all I'm saying.
Maybe instead of the PlayStation or the cane or anything, maybe he pulls up with the skateboard, backwards red hat, music band on his shirt. That would be a LeBron-like move. Music band, and drops like a "How do you do, fellow kids" or something like that when he shows up to the post-game media availability that he's going to score 41, 42 points.
He has to now.
Probably.
Dillon Brooks, this is smart, man. Now LeBron has to score 40 points, or Dillon Brooks wins yet again.
It's okay.
If he doesn't score 40 on him, he's like, I don't care. He's old. He can't get to 40. Challenge him every single time. LeBron's taken twice as many threes as free throws so far in this series.
Yep. Well, he was going to have one game where he drives, and that game is Game 3. I imagine.
Okay. Any other notes from this one? Did you enjoy Eagle dropping, especially early when Desmond had it going, as many Bane references as he could, as many Batman references as he possibly could? He dropped like 3 in the span of like 3 minutes.
He said, Mark Jones, you can't get all the shine. I got to drop some lines. Eagle and Jackson are a good combo. Real good combo.
Yep.
They're good for the playoffs.
Anything else from this one, TK?
Stinker from D'Angelo Russell.
Oh, yeah. He was brutal.
5 points, 2 of 11 shooting. He had 4 assists and 3 turnovers. Afterwards, he says, I'm not a point guard. I'm a basketball player. On this team, my role is not point guard. Sounds frustrated.
Yeah.
Kind of a guy you might not be playing next season. That's certainly a question mark. I saw basically every Lakers fan responded to those quotes with Kyrie Irving coming to play point guard for LA next season. But a solid game 1 for D'Angelo Russell, but just as bad in game 2. Almost unplayable. So we'll see how he fares in game 3.
Did anybody ask Austin Reeves after the game about the basketball that they played with in game 2? Did you see him during the game at one point? He's on the sidelines, and it appeared to me that Reeves is like, I can't control the ball tonight. It's like slippery or something like that. He made this motion of something with the ball, and I didn't see any follow-up quotes on that. But he only had 1 turnover, but there were a couple instances there where he just didn't have good control of it. I was wondering, I was like, maybe a slick ball,
that.
cold ball? What's going on there? But
Little slick ball, cold ball.
We
these
saw
are
a
little tiny
ball.
things I noticed.
We saw a ball replaced in Game 2 of the Philly Nets series.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it came over from the scores table. Something was wrong with the primary ball. All right, we'll keep an eye on that.
Big win there from the Grizzlies. Obviously needed that one. Couldn't go down 2-0. Something like it's a crazy percentage of the road team taking the first 2 games where they go on to win the series. But
Yes.
1-1 going back to LA. You said Saturday?
Yes.
Game 3, excuse me. Game 1 in LA. All right, next game. This one probably won't take long. Bucks hit 25 threes, beat the Heat 138-122. But no Giannis in this game. So no Ja Morant for the Grizz. No Giannis for the Bucks. Both of those were sort of like last hour-ish announcements. I mean,
Giannis
you guys
more so.
were definitely talking about it, and I think a lot of people are like, everybody thought Giannis was going to play despite the back injury in game 1, but they elect to sit him, and in the end it didn't matter because they hit a bunch of threes and they went to work inside as well.
Yeah, no Ja Morant, not a surprise. No Tyler Hero, not a surprise. The Giannis one definitely was. But it's nice when you can just rely on Brook Lopez. 25 points for him, 12 of 17 from the field on a night when the Bucks hit 25 threes. Brook Lopez only took 1 3-pointer. It was a lot like 2021 Game 5 against the Hawks. Giannis was out with his knee injury. They just went to Brook time and time again, and he was able to put the team on his back. He scored 33 that night. 25 obviously last night, set the tone, and then really like busted it open from the inside. They were going crazy inside to the point where you had to collapse. The 3-pointers were open for Milwaukee last night, so you had some crazy shooting stats. 4 threes for Drew, 4 threes for Grayson Allen, 3 for Portis, 2 for Middleton, 6 for Pat Connaughton, didn't even play in game 1, dusted him off, he looked great, and 5 for Joe Ingles. He even got a Javon Carter one in there just for laughs. But yeah, 25 threes. You're going to win every playoff game if you make 25 threes.
Yeah, because that's the record.
Yes.
They tied the playoff record with
good.
25. They own the regular season record with 29. That's nice for the Bucks. Maybe that'll be on their resume one day. The Heat hit some shots. They stayed in the game, which is
16 threes is not bad.
Yeah, that's the thing that they can go back home with. 15 threes in the first game, 16 threes in the second game, even though it was a lot in garbage time when they came back.
No doubt.
They shot way more free throws than the Milwaukee Bucks. They hit more than half their shots against the Milwaukee Bucks. This is a strange number. They shot 53%. They had 122 points. That's a big number against the Milwaukee Bucks, but a lot of it was in garbage time. And Giannis Antetokounmpo didn't play. They're 8.5 or 9 point favorites going into this game without Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Yeah.
That's how drastic this series is. The discrepancy between these two teams, and the Bucks feels like when it comes down to fourth quarter minutes, the last few minutes. It's just hard. It's just hard to beat these champs. You saw it was a 12-point game, 3 minutes left. Cody Zeller had the ball underneath, and Drew Holiday just ripped it from him. Just ripped it. Those are the plays that you can get really excited about as a Bucks fan. I mean, that looks like their championship team when they just take it from guys, and they can morph. They are a chameleon. They say Giannis isn't out. All right, we're going to Brook down low. It's just a different team. And then Bobby Portis comes into the starting lineup and plays awesome.
Yeah, 13 to 15
great.
for him. I mean, it's like sort of the Grizzlies have the benefit of having Tyus Jones to at least slot in there when no Ja Morant. The Bucks have Bobby Portis, who is fantastic, had an incredible season, obviously in the running for Sixth Man of the Year. He slots in, gives them 13 and 15 in this game, and Drew Holiday was special too, 24 and 11. I like Shoe's point too, talking about the idea of the threes made. He said, on the surface, it's results like these from the first two games that look like Exhibit A and B of the it's a make or miss league argument. And the Bucks 25 three-pointers tied the playoff record, like you guys said. But they clearly did make an effort to just play big, play through Brook. 52 points in the paint was their third most for Milwaukee in the 20 total games without Giannis this season. So that was a concentrated effort, and they went to him, and Bobby doing work inside too. And yeah, that's a hell of a lot of threes to go with a bunch of points in the paint in a dominant victory. The score looks a lot closer than it was. I mean, 138, 122. I know it's not even that close, but they were up 30 plus.
Yeah, I think the Heat hit 8 threes in the fourth quarter. That's pretty crazy. But layup's still the number one shot in basketball, it turns out. Best news from this game is that I think that's the last game the Bucks are playing with their blue floor. They've been playing on that since February, but I saw Dustin Godsey, chief marketing officer for the Bucks, tweeted that the standard court should be back and ready after games 1 and 2. Which is good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
That's a weird court.
Yeah.
Now that we've seen it for 2.5 months straight, it's so blue. It is so
blue.
Incredibly blue that they can't even paint the lanes. They're like, we can't add more blue in the lanes, so it makes it look very plain on the inside. I actually like the way the Bucks have incorporated blue into their color scheme, but not for this long. Just be a little tasty.
Just taste.
Yeah, just a taste.
Hey, do you like when you're watching these games now that we're into the staggered times of the playoffs, the 40 games and 40 nights? Do you like when they tell you the score of the other game? You're watching TNT and you get the bug up in the top right-hand corner, NBA TV score. You're nodding.
I'm in.
You said no.
I wish I could turn that score off.
So do I. I'd love if I had an option.
Yeah.
Because sometimes
maybe.
for the sickos, you may want to be like, we're going to watch this game, maybe speed through it a bit. But on the other hand, when it's a 30-point blowout, you're like, oh, okay.
Exactly right.
Yeah, that's why.
I'm like, if I see the score bug up there and I see whoever trailing by 30 points, I ain't tuning in on that. And I think, thank you very much, because I don't care what the score is. If it's a close game, I'm like, cool.
Yeah.
I'm watching that.
Yeah, but I like watching my games like I like my LaCroix. Pure. I want to start the game feeling like it's a tie game, like anyone can win this ball game. Even if it says, like it did during that game, that the other one was 15-15 or whatever. Like I just want to see that 15-15 happen.
An option would be cool. I mean, I'm sure it's coming.
Because it comes on the NBA app.
Yeah,
You have that option on the NBA app, whether it's on Apple TV, whether it's on your iOS. You do. That's old school, throwing the score up there.
Let's hear from people on that one. I feel like that might be that's like an is this good question right there. Might as well make that a poll. You like the bug, the score bug for the other games currently going on? Are you a fan of that or not? Final game last night. It was the late game. Jamal Murray scoring 40. Bubble Murray there. Not in the bubble any longer. Nuggets beat the Wolves for the 2-0 lead, but this was a crazy game, as I alluded to earlier, where Denver up huge. Monster third quarter from Anthony Edwards and the Wolves. They actually have the lead. And then in the end, Michael Porter Jr., Jamal Murray, Jokic taking care of business and giving them the 2-0 lead. Thoughts on this wild one?
Do we do moral victories in the playoffs? No, but
Was there one?
Well, yeah, I think the Wolves in their 40-point third quarter was something because the Nuggets were still trying in that third quarter. It wasn't done, and they scored 40 points. That's a big number. They just
That is the lowest bar for a moral victory. One good quarter out of 8.
yeah.
Dillon
they're
Brooks
losing.
is like, the Wolves have never scored 40 points against my team in a quarter.
This it's not a moral victory for this series. They're not winning anything. They can win a game for sure, but maybe going forward, that third quarter where they scored 40 with Towns out on the perimeter and Gobert and Conley doing their thing and Edwards also contributing with Rudy Gobert. It was a realization that you can't throw Karl Anthony Towns in the block against Jokic, against this Nuggets team. Pull him out. And so they understood. It took them 6 quarters to really realize that, but as soon as he's out of there, at least they were scoring. Anthony Edwards and Gobert were picking and rolling. Conley and Gobert were picking and rolling, and they had a decent quarter. For the future, maybe these guys can play together. They gave up everything for Rudy Gobert, so I think that was something. That's all you got, really. Trying to make a story out of this. It was not only just like first half to second half, but they were getting killed in like the first 18 minutes, just the Nuggets running it down their throat. It was 18-0 and fast break points through like the first 18 minutes of this game, and then it turned out to be 18-16 in the end of it because the bench for the Nuggets, they destroyed the Wolves, really. So they came out of the third quarter at least with something. But the Jamal Murray thing for the Nuggets where he took over is obviously a great sign.
Yeah, first time in a playoff game he scored 40 in front of his own
In
teams.
actually Denver.
In front of
Yes.
fans is what I should say, yeah. And he now has more 40-point playoff games than he does regular season 40-point games. Jamal Murray. He's 5-4. Which is pretty wild.
Yeah, that is pretty wild, but the Nuggets in the regular season are very much an everybody eats kind of team, but I think in the playoffs, you got to have a guy who can put the ball on the floor and score. So I'm not terribly surprised that Murray would have more points when you need your superstars to absolutely show up. And that, to me, is the story of this game, and the most important thing that happened long term is that Jamal Murray looked incredible. All of last night, they're going to need him to be Bubble Murray to have a chance at winning this championship here. And the way he looked yesterday is exactly what they're looking for. It was awesome to see him and Edwards going shot for shot, basically down the stretch. So shout out to the Timberwolves actually making it close in the third quarter, but the fourth quarter was just pick and roll mode for Denver. It was incredible the way they were able to slice him up. It was a big. It'd be Jokic and Gordon, and it was an alley-oop almost every single time because Karl Anthony Towns is just so slow as a defender. Then when they would go for a smaller, big pick and roll, it would be Murray or Michael Porter Jr. and Jokic, and then it's a wide-open jumper for Murray or for MPJ because Gobert was in drop. It was just like anytime the Timberwolves seemed like they might actually be making it in a game in the fourth quarter, run a pick and roll, and you're going to score. So very impressive from Denver. And I thought a huge little run for Michael Porter Jr. to start the fourth quarter. He hit that 4-point play on Taurean Prince. He had a tough jelly in the lane. He hit a couple of free throws. They scored the first 8 for Denver after Minnesota had that big third. And he really turned the tide for him because then Murray and Jokic checked back in, and it was over.
Yeah. Michael Porter Jr., we've said it before, he feels like the X factor to the Nuggets like championship window,
Absolutely,
like when he steps up. And he had a weird game, right? He had foul trouble, so he didn't have a lot of minutes, but huge in the fourth, 13 of his 16 coming in the final period there. Fun ESPN stat, I'm sure you guys will get this right away, but second game in NBA history in which opposing players had at least 40 points and 6 3-pointers in the same game. Can you tell me the other instance?
You mean opposing players?
Yeah, so we had Jamal Murray and we had Anthony Edwards going for 40-plus, hitting 6 threes each.
Jamal.
Only happened one
That's
other time,
right.
Jamal versus
Donovan
Mitchell. That's right, Game
Donovan.
6 of the 2020 playoffs in the first round.
This was a weird one. Aaron Gordon had a reverse tip dunk.
Yeah.
That was wild. The ball went off the rim. He caught it and reverse dunked it in that weird second quarter sequence where Chris Finch used his challenge. They won the challenge, but Denver still had the ball because Aaron Gordon was able to get the ball, and they had 1 second on the shot clock, and then Jokic hits a 3. So the challenge went all for naught, and then they reverse dunked it on their ass. So it went from 15 to 20 after winning the challenge. It was a weird sequence. Where
And
they're
then
trying to
Wade
get
gave
back
it a
into
9 on Twitter, I saw.
Oh,
In the cube.
Oh.
Cube's coming back.
I could not believe that.
I was so shocked.
What? The cube?
Celebrity cube, though. That's
Celebrity
the move.
cube. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's nice.
Yeah,
They got Mark
Shaq.
Cuban in there?
I don't think so.
Cuban in the cube? They gotta get him.
There's Shaq I saw. There's, what's his wife's name? I'm drawing a blank right now.
Hoops?
Wade's. No, Wade.
Gabrielle Union.
Yeah, Union. That's it. A couple other celebrities. A couple other celebrities in the TBS TNT world.
They got an impractical joker. They gotta get one of those guys.
Sal.
Who's going in there? Murph? Anything else?
I got some weird notes on this one.
Yeah.
I think there was a fast break where Kyle Anderson outran Nikola Jokic. That was like a steal. I think it was when Minnesota actually first took the lead. That has to be the slowest fast break in history. Though there is like a great Chris Kaman, Brad Miller one. Got to do like a split screen of that. I gotta go find that. That's
Well,
sicko stuff.
Kyle Anderson is involved in every slow fast break in history ever. There's another one where he was like walking up the floor.
Oh, yeah.
But it's a fast break.
He was sprinting away from Jokic, it looked like on this one. I was like, oh, that's how you make him look fast. The other ones, a question for you, Skeets. Jokic had that really nice, like a spin move. He finished with his left hand, like a nice scoop.
Yep.
He ran back down the court just grinning ear to ear.
Yeah.
I was wondering if that's more acceptable to you than showing your
Yes.
left hand.
Yes.
Just smiling.
Well,
I did
again,
good.
I don't mind when you do it in a pickup run because, look, your left hand is not your strong hand.
I've been
An
working,
NBA
man.
professional basketball player, when they hit a left-handed layup, does not need to be going, hey, look, I did it with my left hand. That's my personal opinion.
Okay, fair
They
enough.
should be able
fair
to do
enough.
it.
He is pretty skilled.
So I will take a grin. I will take a big smile.
Smiling, all good.
Yeah.
The other one, there was a pass from the top of the key. Jokic caught on the left block, just like a little tip pass to, I think it was Aaron Gordon.
Yeah.
And Grant Hill called him a center. Fair enough. But he said he was a center setting up a volleyball spiker. First question, do you think he meant setter? Because that was a set.
Yeah, that's probably what he meant.
But then he made a great joke. He said, sets it over to Karch Karai. Do you know Karch Karai?
No.
I think Karch Karai is the only volleyball player reference that men of a certain age know. My dad could name one volleyball player, Karch Karai. He was like the most famous volleyball player in the 80s and 90s. I don't know why.
How do you even spell that?
K-A-R-C-H. K-I-R-A-L-Y. He's a legend.
Yeah. I've seen this guy.
Yeah. You know Karch Karai.
You're a legend, Cart.
You're a legend, Karch. He knows Judd Bushler somehow. I think they may have played together.
Okay.
All I'm saying is we need to update our volleyball player references. Let's go with Chase Budinger. It's perfect.
Oh,
Former
yeah.
NBA player.
No, I know
the women,
the American tandem, yeah.
Misty May Trainer.
Yeah.
And Carrie Walsh. Is
Yeah,
that
there
her
you go.
name?
There you go.
Yeah.
Also
They're awesome.
acceptable. Also acceptable. My man Karch hasn't spiked for 3 decades, Grant. Just some Karch Karai thoughts
Hey, I
for
love
you
it.
out there.
I
Hope
love
you're
it.
listening, Dad.
Well, that's what they said on the broadcast. Spiro Dedi said on the broadcast that Jokic played volleyball in Serbia.
Yes, he did.
I played a lot of sports.
And I hadn't heard that one. Did he play volleyball while riding horses?
And handball. We know that one.
And water polo? I just made
Is that for
up.
sure he played water polo?
I thought it's been
No.
said.
Really?
Because he,
Maybe it's just getting
he always
mixed up.
does this.
Well, yeah. But
He
hold on.
always puts the ball over his hand like he's ready to throw it in the top corner of an Olympic game.
Now I might be confusing. Dirk was a handball player, but I thought Jokic was too. He played all the sports. Doesn't
He
matter.
just played a lot of sports.
Yeah.
man.
New rule, by the way. If you're like a 2-time All-NBA player, 3-time All-Star, that level, like where we consider you like, basically a borderline superstar, like a really, really, really great player, you got to stop having 2 straight-up duds in a row in a playoff series. One, totally fine. Happens. You have a rough shooting night, bad whistle, you're frustrated. You start doing it multiple times already in your career where you string together 2 or 3 bad games. I'm talking about Karl Anthony Towns here.
Oh, yeah, obviously.
Like, it's... Then it's like, who gives a shit what you do in the regular season? It's like, those players don't... That doesn't happen generally 2 or 3 games in a row. And he's had 2 stinkers here. And he did it last year against the Grizzlies. I remember he had 2 brutal games. Foul trouble he was involved in there. He got a tough call. I get that last night. But, like, these are now 11-point games in game 1. 5 of 15. Okay, 1 of 7 from deep in a 29-point blowout. And then last night, 10 points. 3 of 12 shooting. 5 turnovers, 5 fouls. It's frustrating, man.
He's getting outplayed by Aaron Gordon.
Yeah.
Quite obviously. I mean, it's hard to play with 2 bigs on the court. The guy also missed 2 months of the season. To come in and try and get a rhythm, I think is tough. But, you can't be feeling encouraged by the way Karl Anthony Towns has showed up in this postseason and in last postseason. But, I don't know, give him the benefit of the doubt to finish out this year and try and figure out stuff, I suppose, next year alongside Gobert. Or, like Kyle Anderson said after Rudy Gobert punched him in the chest, you got some things to figure out this summer.
I mean, I'm looking at it right now, his career playoff game log. And by the way, play-in games don't count. They're not even there on Basketball Reference. But this will not be a shocker. When Karl Anthony Towns, scores less than 11 points in a playoff game, his team loses. The first 2 games against the Rockets back in 2018 when he got his first taste of the playoffs, remember he scored 8 points and then 5 points. They lost both those games. Last year against the Grizzlies, had a great game 1. And then games 2 and 3, he was pretty bad. Scored 15 in game 2, only 8 in game 3, and then here we are in this series where they're down 2-0 after 2 bad games. I mean, they just need they need Karl Anthony Towns to have a decent game, let alone a good to great game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. He's not really a post-up player. He's got
in this
skills.
series, he's got to get out. He's got to be at the 3-point line.
He's not faster than Aaron Gordon. That's a problem. He can't take him off the dribble.
It doesn't matter. He just has to be outside the 3-point line in this series.
He's like 25% from 3 so far, so he's got a hit.
Yeah, but he's just pulling him out, and that's how they scored 40 points. The space, because
Opening
he's out
things
there
up for Anthony.
For everybody. Yeah, that's how they scored. He's been a post player for 6 quarters, and then they said, "All right, bye-bye."
Get out of the way, man.
I mean, he had a couple good. The play-in was good, even though those stats don't exist anywhere.
Yeah.
Playing with Gobert is different.
Do you think the Wolves can win a game, Trey? In Minnesota, they can take one off Denver, or does this scream sweep to you?
I think they can. I think they still have a chance to win a game in Minnesota. They had a great crowd last year in the playoffs and in the play-in. Anthony Edwards, I think that's encouraging, the way he played last night, to see the comfort that he had getting to his jumper, driving the lane, using his athleticism. So I think with him playing as well as he did and going home, they got a chance to pull one off here for sure.
Yeah. All right, we're going to take our first break. When we come back, we got a bunch of news to talk about. Mike Brown winning Coach of the Year. Tommy Sheppard, he's out of Washington. Do you even know what Tommy Sheppard looks like?
Yes.
I know you do, sicko, but a lot of you don't.
You saw him in person.
We'll talk about that and a whole lot more. Don't go anywhere.
Yeah, you remember.
Cha-ching! Cha-ching!
Yeah, there it is.
Cha-ching!
You got it.
That's the one. You know that sound. That's the sound of another sale on Shopify. And the moment another business dream becomes a reality. Shopify is the commerce platform revolutionizing millions of businesses worldwide. Whether you're selling podcast t-shirts or podcast sweatshirts, Shopify simplifies selling online and in person so you can focus on successfully growing your business. Shopify covers every sales channel, from an in-person POS system to an all-in-one e-commerce platform. It even lets you sell across social media marketplaces like TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. I don't even think I knew that TikTok had a marketplace. Surprising to me.
Right.
Packed with industry-leading tools ready to ignite your growth, Shopify gives you complete control over your business and your brand without having to learn any new skills in design or code. And thanks to 24/7 help and an extensive business course library, Shopify is there to support your success every step of the way. No matter how big you want to grow, Shopify is there to empower you with the confidence and control to revolutionize your business and take it to the next level. Now it's your turn to get serious about selling and try Shopify today. This is Possibility, powered by Shopify. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/nodunks, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/nodunks. Make sure to keep it lowercase, and you can take your business to the next level today. Shopify.com/nodunks.
All right, if you're joining us live here on YouTube, we love to see it. Hit the like button. Hit the like button for all the boys being back together talking hoops here in the Classic Factory. Got some news items for you guys. First one, we knew this was coming. Mike Brown wins 2022-23 Coach of the Year award. Unanimously, Tass. That was the real shocker here.
That is a shocker.
First time ever with this award.
That is definitely a shocker. What the way voters think of it. I mean, they just have their own agendas. They start thinking about other guys. There are a lot of good coaches out there.
Right.
This is surprising. They had their votes in just this past weekend, right? So I guess they maybe saw the Sacramento Game 1 win. Maybe they got him a few extra votes, whatever. He deserves every single one, whether it's unanimous or not. Michael Burton Brown came into this season and obviously created an incredible locker room.
Yeah.
I mean, and even great story on The Athletic about them getting ready for this series. Michael Burton Brown, Matthew Dellavedova, and Harrison Barnes all got up because they all have their own histories with the Golden State Warriors and did their talking. Like he's done a good job. Whatever he's done, it's worked. Oh, and yeah, he's got a superstar in De'Aaron Fox and Sabonis. It's an incredible job, man. Incredible job.
Were you shocked at all by him getting all 100 votes?
Yes and no.
Yeah.
Shocking because it actually happened, but also like, why would you vote for somebody else?
Yeah.
He's the clear choice as coach of the year here. And I also think it's very funny that he's kind of doing the ultimate rope-a-dope as well. Michael Brown, I can't stop saying Michael Brown once somebody starts saying it. Mike Brown, coming in to the Kings, was known as a defensive coach. He was like a defensive coach with the Warriors. When he was with the Cavs and Lakers, it was defense first. We'll figure out the offense later.
Right.
Everybody's thinking, you're going to make this team better on defense. They're not. They're not much better at all. But they're good enough and they're awesome on offense until Mike Brown meets his former team in the playoffs and he pulls out every defensive card that he's had in his career for the past 30 years. Now they're looking like a great defensive team in the playoffs. So give him coach of the year for the regular season and for at least the first 2 games of the playoffs.
Yeah. Not shocking at all. 48-34, 7th best record in the league. Greatest offense we've ever seen when it comes to offensive rating.
Absolutely.
Best road record in the Western Conference. That's pretty special. They snapped that 16-year consecutive losing seasons, that playoff drought, and they won the division title. Obviously in a tough division where there's a lot of good teams, a lot of making them postseason. So kudos to Mike Brown. If your name is Mike, you got a great chance of winning this award.
Tell me more.
A lot of Mikes.
D'Antoni?
D'Antoni's won it twice. Okay, have at it. It's another current coach.
There's another Malone.
No, he's never won it. He's next.
Yeah, he's next.
Lock it in. Mike Malone will eventually win this award. No, there's another current coach, though. Mike.
Budenholzer.
Budenholzer
Buden.
twice. So we got
Buden
Brown,
tonight?
D'Antoni, and Budenholzer twice. And then you guys you'll get 2 of the 3. But you're going to struggle with the last one because I didn't even know who he was. You guys, you saw him iron his shirt from time to time.
Fratello.
Mike Fratello back in the 80s.
Great one.
I think, did he win it with the Hawks? Cavs? Maybe the Hawks. And then there's another one, his son went on to play in the NBA.
Mike.
Who's a 3-point shooter? White guy?
3-point shooting
Yeah.
white guy. Mike Legler?
No.
Mike Price? Son Mark?
Yeah.
No,
Definitely the
He,
whites I was thinking of as well.
Mike
Hornacek?
what can I give you?
Mike
His
Bird?
son went on to play. That's tough. It's tough when you go about it that way.
Well,
Because you don't think of
this guy shares a name with the governor of Alaska, Tass. I know you your politics.
the governor of Alaska. I can
Palin?
get there. I can get there.
No. I don't know if he's current.
Governor of Alaska.
I don't know if he's current.
Mike Richards.
Come on. Man.
hard to remember.
MD are the initials.
Mike D'Antoni.
No, the other one.
Mike.
This was a junior.
Degnault.
This was a junior in the NBA.
Dunleavy.
Mike Dunleavy, guys.
That's a
Blazers
good one.
coach back in
That's
the 80s.
a good one.
And then the final one. I mean, if
Coulda
you
got
couldn't get
there.
that one, you're never getting this one. Because I never even heard of this guy. I'm even just looking him up. Do you know the name Mike Schuler?
Oh, Heath
Don?
Schuler's dad.
Yeah, Mike Schuler won it also in the
Nice
80s. 1987, rookie coach to win the Rookie of the Year. Who did he do it with? I want to.
Schuler, yeah. Mike Schuler, he coached
Blazers, also Blazers.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
unanimous.
Anyway, congratulations to Mike Brown, and congratulations in advance to Michael Malone. Next piece of news here. This came out of nowhere. The Wizards fired GM Tommy Sheppard after 4 seasons. The Wizards themselves announced this one, TK, that he is out of there. And this is what Wizards owner Ted Leonsis said in a statement. Quote, a search for new leadership will begin immediately for an executive from outside the organization. That's sort of a key word there. Outside, because they like to keep things internal.
Yes,
This
yes,
team.
indeed.
Yeah.
I think it's 2003 is the last time an executive was hired from outside the organization. Ernie Grunfeld was the man for the Wizards. Yeah, this one came out of nowhere because I said Wes Unseld Jr. was on the medium hot seat. Wrong Wizard, it turns out. But yeah, I mean, on one hand, I kind of feel like, is this Tommy Sheppard's fault? It seemed to be that the directive from the front office is bring back our guys. Keep Bradley Beal around at any cost necessary. They did that when Tommy Sheppard came in. The Wizards were 25-47 his first season. Then they won 34 games, then 35, then 35. It ain't that much different. I mean, it ain't that much different, I suppose, is the problem. But is the goal to get back to the play-in tournament? Probably. That does seem a little bit like the goal right now. But I would say everybody who's watching this, listening to this, get your trade machine ready. Because if you can come up with a good Bradley Beal trade, you might get hired as the Wizards GM.
Oh.
That seems to be what the main goal should be. Bradley Beal has a no-trade clause. The only way the Wizards get better is by trading him. But you got to have the buy-in from Ted Leonsis to take a step back for a couple of seasons.
Take a step back, but it's going to be sort of lateral if they trade Bradley Beal. How many more games are they going to lose? Really, if they get a package back, they could still be in the 30s. I think this is a good sign in that there's some accountability and that they're not going to just run back the exact same team, and that they are thinking about something else rather than just bringing back the crew, rather than just giving Kuzma a big contract this offseason, rather than just paying Porzingis after he comes off the books the following season. That just seems like the Wizards' path, but maybe it's different. And I think that's a somewhat positive idea because it is just bring back our guys, and let's win 30 games. So a little positivity here.
Yeah, it definitely raises questions about the future of Kuzma and Porzingis, especially Kuzma. They have his bird rights, so it does allow the Wizards to re-sign Kuzma, exceeding the salary cap and allowing them to give him that 5th year, right? So other potential suitors, they're limited into signing Kuzma into cap space or sign and trade with the Wizards, can't get that 5th year. So we'll see what they do there. Porzingis, yeah, he's got the player option, right? But it's huge. We'll see what he does with that decision. But they've just drafted like shit, too. That's the other part. I mean, is that Tommy Sheppard? That's his job. I think he has the ultimate final say. It hasn't been great. But a part of it is they're always in that weird middle ground. So it's not like they have a top 3 pick. 2019, Rui Hachimura. Okay, he's playing well for the Lakers right now.
Back-to-back 20-point playoff
He
games.
did not play well for the Wizards. 9th pick in 19. Denny Avdia, 9th pick in 2020. Looks to be a fine player, but obviously not a franchise-altering player. Corey Kispert, 2021. He was the 15th pick. Good three-point shooter. Fantastic three-point shooter. But again, has the appearance so far that he'll be just a very solid role player. And then, man, this 2022 pick, Johnny Davis, was one of the older guys drafted. He goes 10th. He played, at the end of the season? In
Doesn't play a
meaningless
ton.
games and played a couple good weeks, but otherwise he was probably most people's pick for, the biggest bust through the first, 4 months of the season. So that's not great. And again, you can find gems in those spots. We've seen it time and time again. Superstars picked in those ranges from, 8 to 15, but they went really 0 for 4, it appears, in getting a player that you're like, oh, yeah, that's a building block right there. So that's going to help your chances of sticking around.
Totally. I do wonder if this is the end of Bradley Beal, though, with the Washington Wizards. It feels like part of him wants it. As he told our friends Josiah Johnson and Gilbert Arenas, I had no option when I signed that contract.
Yeah.
That's obviously doesn't put a lot of confidence into the fan base if they're going to read into that stuff. That was just this year. It happens every year. So yeah, maybe they're going to go in a different direction. They're going to call Masai and say, "Hey, you want to come down to Washington? We've
Tried that before.
We've tried it before."
Tim Connolly, too. They basically struck out on him, I think, the first time, and then settled with Tommy
That's a
Sheppard.
weird one, the Connolly, because he just went to Minnesota before this offseason. Made the Rudy Gobert deal. He signed a huge deal to go to Minnesota, so I don't think that one's going to happen.
Got an equity stake, I believe, in
Yeah,
the franchise.
right.
saw that.
So, yeah, he'll probably stay in Minnesota, but you could see if you wanted to leave. Trade another huge name. Why not?
It just goes around from
Beal for
franchise to
Gobert.
franchise.
Yes, a redo. Sure.
We have heard from Woj, I believe it was, tweeting last night that Wes Unseld Jr., the coach of the Wizards, he's going to be good for at least one more season.
Yeah.
But that's always a strange dynamic where, in theory, a new GM comes in, and then you've got like sort of the old coach. Usually, a GM likes to bring in their own guy and like sort of like try and link up and build the team that way. But we'll see if Wes gets a fair crack here, and all of these decisions, whoever this person is, be it a big name, feels like that's where they really want to go, like someone very established. Like you're throwing out Masai's and Tim Connolly and stuff like that, outside at least, as we talked about, but they're in a tough spot here. I guess you've got to just trade Bradley Beal and get worse.
Yeah.
But it's not like he's like took him to one playoff series when they lost in 5.
They'd be trading for hope at least, because otherwise they're a middling team. That's what's happening with Beal or without. Maybe it's like the reverse with Wes Unseld Jr. Dad played, he didn't play. It's the reverse of the Mike Dunleavy scenario. Maybe he's got to get Mike Dunleavy Jr. He's involved in basketball.
Trajan Langdon, another name
Speaking of Alaska.
being thrown.
Speaking of Alaska.
Speaking of Alaska, well done. I've seen his name being linked
coach?
to
Oh,
a
it's
possibility
yeah.
of a GM role.
Yeah, of course. He's with our man Griff.
You guys have talked about this all week long, but there's been an update sort of from the NBA when it comes to Draymond Green and his suspension. We had NBA Executive Vice President and Head of Basketball Operations, Joe Dumars, saying Draymond Green's, quote, excessive and over-the-top actions and his history as a repeat offender were instrumental in the league's decision to suspend him for Game 3 of the Warriors' first-round series against the Kings tonight. So he went on record. They got Joe Dumars out there, who never appears happy to me to be talking about any of this. I don't know. You see the clip.
I don't think he
Nobody wants to punish people.
Yeah,
you know?
he doesn't want to.
Yeah.
He probably was also like, you're sending me to do a press tour on a suspension?
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah. But these are
is
the reasons were sort of these three things: excessive and over the top, and the repeat offender. That's what Joe kept saying there.
That's what Joe kept saying.
Yeah.
He was thinking, I played on the bad boys. I wanted to stomp. I wanted to do some stomping myself. But it is weird to see somebody from the NBA front office talking about this out in the open. It just doesn't happen a lot. They don't make these proclamations. But we've talked about, I do think it's entirely fine to take someone's resume and reputation into account. I think that's totally fine, especially in a situation where there's a foot grab and it's difficult to know without a weight scale how much pressure he was putting on Domantas Sabonis. So I'm fine with the one game when it comes down to it. The Warriors obviously have a tough task tonight. Mm-hmm. I can't wait to see how everybody responds.
Dumars also acknowledged that Draymond's behavior in the aftermath of the ejection, where he is taunting and riling up the Kings crowd, played a factor. Yeah. I mean, he came on record and said that.
Yeah.
The way he reacted after this whole thing goes down doesn't help his case. Hence the one game, along with, 163 career technicals and 17 ejections and all this. Yeah, it's amazing. I know it's not amazing because it's the playoffs and it's Draymond Green and the defending champion Warriors against the upstart Kings, but it is sort of wild. The guy fucking stomped on a player. Of course he should get a game. It's not that hard. He stomped on him. He didn't need to. To me, that's like, it's no different than like, if I hold you, which you can convince me, yeah, Sabonis held his leg intentionally, some say not, whatever. But if I hold your arm on the basketball court, and then you wind up and clock me, be it in the chest, the neck, whatever, then you're going to get the more severe punishment.
Yep.
This was just feet instead of fists.
Well, I think it is different.
Right?
It is different because the guy was trying to run. Legs are different than arms. He was trying to run and get back on defense.
He's trying to shake off the hold.
Yeah, he tried
then
to, and the hold
stomps
was
on
still
him.
there. There was a stomp,
Yeah,
no doubt.
yeah.
He wasn't lying there because his
Rugged
sternum
Ronnie
felt
Garvin.
good.
Remember him? That was his finishing move. One of his finishing moves in the WWE. He would just stomp around a guy. He'd go around his whole body.
Come on,
stomp
come on.
his
That's
hand.
not a real
Yeah.
guy.
Seriously, look it up. It's hilarious.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Rugged Ronnie Garvin.
Rugged
He literally would stomp around the guy's body on the ground.
Cool.
Draymond will be doing that. That'll be his finishing move when he's a wrestler. It'll be pretty good, actually.
You just reminded me that they were calling David Rowdy whatever it was exactly, but some sort of Rowdy Roddy.
Not Rugged Ronnie.
Piper reference.
So anyway, yeah, were you shocked that it was Dumars and not Silver maybe doing this, or that it happened at all? This like, well, here I am. Let me tell you why we suspended him one game.
Oh, yeah, definitely. You don't usually get a car wash appointment for a guy getting suspended, but the magnitude of the game, the player who it is, the fact that this is a Warriors team who has been the face of the league for the past 10 seasons, basically, I think understandable why Joe Dumars is out there. I like a lot of people are like, didn't he used to work for the Kings once upon a time? He did. He also like tutored Draymond Green as a player coming up through the league, so maybe he's the perfect guy to make the decisions here.
Wow, okay.
The Detroit connection, nice.
So no Draymond, of course, tonight in Game 3. We'll see what happens there in the Bay. Final piece of news, Adam Silver, he said the NBA's in-season tournament to feature different uniforms, and the finals will be played at a neutral site. He said this at the Sports Business Journal's World Congress of Sports Conference, which happened earlier this week, about this upcoming in-season tournament. Yeah, that was a lot of sports in that,
I'd
wasn't
love
it?
to go to the World Congress of
Business
Sports.
Journal's World Congress of Sports Conference.
You have to be elected? Serving my third term on the World Congress of Sports.
But he said that players will be wearing different uniforms. Maybe the court will look different. You'll know it's not just a regular season game. And he said that the Final Four teams will play at a neutral site, and that additionally, regular season games will also count as cup games, which will run through November. So we're getting like a little bit more details, and there was some, I guess you guys did talk about some payouts when it comes to this in-season tournament.
Yes.
Do you like that?
50K for the best loser. Those are the payouts.
Was it? Yeah.
I know you wanted to talk about it. You came back just raring to go talking about the way, I guess that's going to look different. That's the news, really.
Yeah.
The courts and the neutral site part.
I think what I'm fascinated by about all this is like the blowback to this concept of the in-season tournament. It's like we're just raising the stakes a little bit of games already scheduled. So how's that bad? I'm not saying it's going to be amazing right away, but how is that bad? It's not. Now, I like all of you. Let's reduce the season. Let's make the games more important, all that. That is not happening from the Players Association or from the league themselves. There's just too much money and obviously the broadcasting and all that. So I just don't see the downside in trying to raise the stakes a little bit of games earlier in the year and just give it a go.
Yeah, the games won't be all that different. It'll feel like a regular season game. I guess
it will look different.
It'll look different, which is smart, I guess. The gimmicky is turned up a little bit. It feels like the gimmick knob, but you're totally right. It's the same. I maybe am a little too North American sports oriented. I just want to throw an extra word in there because we're talking about the World Sports Congress or whatever. Like
nice.
maybe I just don't. I can't wrap my head around an in-season tournament because I'm just a major sports kind of guy. But I am willing to give them the benefit of the doubt, as Trey brought up yesterday, because of how successful the play-in tournament has been. Mm-hmm. That was executed very well. So let's roll.
This happens next season, correct?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
23-24.
November,
Feels
December.
like it's 10 years in the future to me still.
23-24?
Yeah,
24
When I
looks
see
weird.
it, I was like, we'll be flying in cars by that point.
I got a few ideas for this.
Okay.
Number one, to make it look different, they should play in the uniforms from the new Chris Paul commercial. They call them old school shorts. They're long shorts. That's old school shorts now.
Yeah,
the shorts that come down to your mid shin. So I think go back to the early 2000s. Look, long shorts, gigantic jerseys. My other pitch for this, if I were campaigning for the World Congress of Sport, was that we maybe have a player salary max or some kind of tournament game salary cap that gives the highest paid best players in the league a reason to rest these games. If you make over X amount of dollars, you cannot play. LeBron James, you're making $40 million. You're sitting on the bench for this one.
Whoa.
You got to play your lower paid players. Everybody under a certain number. I don't know what the number is. At first, I started thinking $5 million per season. 10x.
You want the best players to not play.
That's exactly
What a
right.
swerve.
That's exactly right.
Right.
Exactly right. I want the best players to not play in this tournament and for no one to judge them for it. Because guess what? They're going to sit some of these games anyways.
Yeah.
And it will be not a problem if they have this excuse that they are not allowed to play because putting up salary max means you're playing the players who it matters the most to. Furkan Korkmaz, he makes exactly $5 million a year. I bet he'd like to win $500,000. It's also the most playing time he would get if he were to be able to play in that game. If Embiid, if Harden, if Tobias Harris, all these guys who are higher in the pecking order aren't allowed to play. If you build a championship team, if you're a Lakers, if you are a Milwaukee Bucks, your end of the bench guys are probably not as good. So you're not as competitive in this tournament. But if you're a rebuilding team, if you're the Thunder, you're probably playing a lot of your best players in this. Ergo, the tournament means more to you, and it's just a different stratosphere of games. It feels different, it looks different, and it means more to the players who are out there, while giving the best teams in the league a chance to develop their younger players as well.
But it'll mean less because the stars aren't out there.
It's going to mean less anyways because it's in the middle of the season.
Yeah.
Well, mean less than what? A regular season game? I think the scheduler will say, you're getting days off before these games, so the stars play. That's what they're going to do as much as possible, so they can get all the stars out there.
That's what they're gonna do, but this is what they should do.
I wonder what the ratio for all the European soccer tournaments is for stars playing, because sometimes stars do sit in those games. But Adam ain't gonna like that.
Adam ain't gonna like it.
No. I like this wrinkle, though, of at least making it appear to be a different type of event. Even if it's just a jersey change, a court change, whatever, whatever's on the floor. And then I guess we'll find out where this neutral site is, too. Any guesses where they'll play it?
The one with the umlaut? They're going to be playing on the top shelf at your local stores. Sorry, they're not sponsoring us anymore right now. Where do I think they're going to play it? Las Vegas.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
That'll get the players, the star players to go.
Exactly right.
Smooth move.
Yeah, they'll definitely they're going to try and make this a bigger thing, like the Commissioner's Cup, for instance, in the WNBA, which is the equivalent here of the in-season tournament. That's part of the new change in the WNBA, where chartered flights are going to be there for the playoffs, the regular playoffs, and for the Commissioner's Cup finals. So it's a thing. Like, this is going to be a thing in November and December.
You made a good point, though. Like, these, and I said it when I was doing the intro there, like, these games are not separate outside of, like, I guess that potential final extra game. But for the most part, the games within this tournament are just regular season games. So it will be weird if, like, player X is like, fuck this stupid in-season tournament. I don't care. I don't want to play. It would be the same equivalent of that player saying, fuck game 13 of the regular season. I don't want to play.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair. It's not the most important game of the season, but it is still, when you're winning and losing and where you're getting in the playoff and all that, it matters. So maybe there won't be as much as that. And Silver did say with the international players in this league, it's like nearly like a third or something. It's very, very high, obviously, that they're used to this with all of the, soccer in-season tournaments. It's
Canadians,
like, it's not as crazy.
Canadians aren't.
Well, Canadians aren't.
College basketball does it. They have like their little invitationals at the beginning of the season. You can win the Maui Invitational. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
But you don't have to wear shoes when you're coaching.
They can wear sandals?
Yeah, they can wear sandals. They can wear a shirt like this on the sideline.
Hold on, can they really wear sandals?
Yeah.
Wow.
Like Maui's very chill, man.
That's very dangerous to me.
Dangerous.
Like in a basketball to the toe. You want me to pull out my blood toe right now?
Nobody
Okay,
wants
there you
that.
go.
This guy just ran a marathon, and he thinks it's dangerous to coach in sandals.
Man, somebody can take a ball to the toe, man. All right.
Zach Lowe can coach out there. That's why. 'Cause Zach Lowe shows up for media day in his thongs,
Closed toes.
aka
Wow.
flip flops, aka sandals.
No socks.
No,
Yeah. Wow.
pants and sandals.
That is very
Sandal
unprofessional.
pants, right? Zach Lowe's on the brain because I'm looking at him right now because he's part of the tweet of the night.
Okay.
Oh, cool.
Well, let's take a break, and when we come back, we'll get to that. Don't go anywhere.
This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. Sometimes we don't know why we react the way we do, and we would like to react differently. Therapy is about understanding why we act the way we do. And for men, talking about our issues can be discouraged at times. For example, a fan yelled at Russell Westbrook to take it like a man during game 1 of the playoffs. We have these constructed ideas of how we should respond to life, ideas that they don't actually help us in our lives. I'm trying to sound like an expert. I am not. In fact, I needed a better coping method this past weekend. I can use some therapy, and I do seek it out from time to help get out of my head, step outside myself a little bit, but I tend to seek it out when I perceive a problem. It's like going to get a massage when you're sore instead of addressing it all the time. I wish I did it more regularly than just when I need it. Ja Morant, for instance, he had a meditation session after Game 1 versus the Lakers. It helps. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online. It's designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Discover your potential with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/NoDunks today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/NoDunks.
All right, before we get into our Game 3 previews tonight, let's get to Tweet of the Night.
Tweet of the night. Wow.
Tweet of the night comes from the great Zach Lowe, as aggregated from friends at Real GM and NBA Central. This is what Zach Lowe said on his podcast.
Okay.
It's very topical. We're getting to the Warriors and the Kings here. The Warriors apparently feel like Domantas Sabonis is using the ball as a weapon on offense. That's what Zach Lowe said. Here's his quote. There is some anger within the organization toward the league. There's a sense in the organization that Sabonis is shoving people on offensive rebounds and playing with his elbows out and using the ball as a weapon on offense. End quote. So he's using the ball as a weapon and playing with his elbows out. This is what Sabonis needs to do in Game 3. He needs to come out to this song right here.
Chicken wing, hot dog and bologna, chicken and macaroni, chillin' with my homies. Chicken wing, hot dog and bologna, chicken and macaroni, chillin' with my homies. Chicken wing, hot dog and bologna, chicken and macaroni, chillin' with my homies. Chicken wing, hot dog and bologna, chicken and macaroni.
Is this like a TikTok thing?
It is.
He's just coming out like this on the floor.
You played me out, JD. I had 15 more seconds.
It's great audio. It's a good song.
Yeah, it's going to come out like that. Why not? Why not come out
Why?
to that song?
Let me counter with a why.
Why not?
Because it's got bass. It's all about the bass. Also because, just to play into it, you play the villain. He's using those elbows as chicken wings.
I got you.
Yeah, that's it. That's the whole thing. I think it is hilarious that this is even a story, that he's playing basketball out there.
I'm more invested in the ball as a weapon. Just like
weapon.
throwing holding
Yeah.
onto a ball and punching.
So
Smacking it around.
Yeah.
where's the video evidence of that? I don't see
Yeah,
the video
yeah.
evidence of that. Is he pushing people with the ball?
I actually think Zach's right. I think Sabonis pushes people in the back. I think he plays with his elbows out, and I think he swings the ball around in people's faces, and it's awesome. He's one of the most physical players in the league, and clearly there's been a directive from the NBA heading into the postseason. No holds barred. It has been super physical in these playoffs, in this series, no doubt about it. But I think in every series, in general, offensive rebounding, you can get away with anything underneath the hoop right now. People are throwing bodies left and right. It's just that Draymond is the guy who got the most upset about it, stomped on a player, and got suspended for it. But you're seeing this kind of stuff in every single game. Sabonis is just being unleashed because he's one of the more physical players in the league.
He's playing basketball, baby.
Yep.
Kevon Looney was asked about it. The guy who's taking those bows, who's playing underneath. He didn't even bat an eye. He said, "Yeah, there's pushing, there's shoving, there's grabbing.
Yeah.
There's big men playing basketball, and they want to win." And he said, "I hope it continues, and I like it." And that's it. I mean, that's the end of it. The ball as a weapon is a funny movie scene idea.
Yeah.
Just the guy who just walks down the floor in the lane and just drops people.
Like, I legally can't do that, right? Like, if Trey's guarding me and I've picked up the ball, I can't, or can I? Like, literally use the ball as a weapon and just sort of punch Trey in the face with the ball while holding on to it.
I don't think so.
It's unsportsmanlike. I would assume. That's a tech.
Right, but I think what they mean is like you push up on me.
Yeah.
He's going like
Yeah.
elbows
Yeah.
out, ball as a weapon. Same thing to me.
Yeah. Okay.
But you can't just bop somebody in the nose.
This sounds like
You
a
should be
team
able
just
to.
whining about everything.
Yes,
Down
that's
2-0.
what it is.
That's what I
Yeah.
read into this.
And the other.
They can win tonight, though.
You
I wouldn't count them
you
out.
either say this is taken up a notch. Usually it's, hey, they're getting the foul calls, which there's been a little bit of that out there. The Kings are getting the foul calls, which both teams. Listen, the Kings fans have been amazing, and so they've had a couple calls go their way. There have been bad calls against them as well.
Yeah.
But this is taken up a notch. Mr. Man is using elbows and the ball as a weapon. That's what he does. He plays, but he has gotten hit a lot. He's just gotten up every single time. This is great.
3 game threes tonight. Sixers Nets, 7:30 p.m. Eastern on TNT. Philly leads this one 2-0. Been in control for most of this series. Then we have Kings Warriors at 10. That's the second game on TNT. Sacramento up 2-0. Feels like a must win for the Golden State Warriors here, despite no Draymond Green. And then Suns Clippers. You're going to be looking at it in a little score bug up in the top right-hand corner if you're watching Kings Warriors. That one gets started at 10:30 on NBA TV. That one tied at 1 game apiece. And just about the officiating thing I've noticed, Trey, you were talking about how they have been letting them be pretty physical. I would agree with that, especially in first halves.
Yes.
There's a lot of physical play, and like they swallow the whistle a lot. And then sometimes, probably to the frustrations of teams and coaches, the whistle changes in some of these games in the second half, and suddenly it's like, all that crap you were letting us get away with in the first half, you're suddenly calling, which would be frustrating because you want it to be consistent. But yeah, I just noticed in first halves, a lot of the games, a lot of the series, go at it, boys.
Smack away, boys.
Be all the rugged Ronnie Garvins you want. Canadian, by the way, I didn't know that. He beat Greg the Hammer Valentine, probably for an Intercontinental, maybe
Seems like an
championship?
intercontinental.
Yeah, I don't think he was around long. 2 years, maybe tops. I think he had yellow tights. Very boring.
Can't believe you went with rugged Ronnie Garvin over Seth freaking Rollins.
I guess he does
An easy one.
He does the
Yeah.
one head. No, but well, you're gonna laugh when you see this clip of what he does. You're gonna be like, "That's one of his finishing moves." Like I'm telling you, the guy's laying like this on the ground, and then rugged Ronnie Garvin would like stomp on a hand, stomp on a shoulder, stomp on like a little head, and then literally go around like stomp on a knee, like every body part he was targeting.
Sounds like a meme. Sounds like a potential meme you could create.
Potential meme is in play, guys. So anything? Which game I guess are you most excited about tonight here with these game threes?
Well, I guess Warriors Kings going to finally keep me up for a late game. Got no choice. Game 3, this is too much. This is playoff mode activated. This is exciting stuff. I want to see how the Warriors handle not having Draymond Green out there, being so thin up front. They tried their bench many, many times. Is this the time that they would want James Wiseman out there? No, I'm just kidding. But they have enough. They have bodies. I just can't wait to see. This is their backs against the wall. This is the champs against the wall. So,
You believe this is their season here on the line? The Warriors,
yeah.
they're not coming back from 3-0.
I know. I don't think so.
Well, I lock that in pretty confidently. No way.
Yeah.
And
This
they
is a
could
must-win game.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to
There's
do
a
it
must-win
one day. I don't know if it's going to be this year. No, the Kings. I'm interested to see if the Kings keep up what they've done the first 2 games. They've fought with tenacity, and the Warriors were doing the same. It's not like the Warriors were holding anything back.
No,
the Warriors, in that at the end of the first quarter of Game 2, Steve Kerr was pulling out every single move to get every little extra possession. There's 30 seconds left. Wiggins goes and presses in the backcourt, and then all 3 of their guys pressed up on the next possession, right up to half court, and the substitutions happening left and right on both sides throughout the game. More substitutions than Karen in a Starbucks line. It's happening throughout the entire first couple games. They're not waiting for anything. So Kurt knows that this team is on the ropes. But will the Kings play the same way on the road with the same tenacity for 2 games? We'll see.
Yeah, massive test for the Kings. The Warriors are 33-8 at home, playing a must-win game. So this should be awesome. And I guess it'll be interesting to see who gets the start for Draymond Green. Kuminga?
Yeah,
Jonathan Kuminga? You think?
it could be Moody.
Could be Moody. Moody was good on the glass. I don't know. Maybe Kuminga just let him chase Fox around for a little bit. He'd pick up a ton of fouls, but I suppose that's something that could happen. I think for the Warriors to win, they need Jordan Poole to finally wake up, play a decent game. He's been outplayed by Malik Monk so far in this series, and Poole is just such a volatile player. Unfortunately for the Warriors thus far, it's gone the wrong way basically every single game, so they need him to step up. And it's going to be really interesting to see if, like Mike Brown said, the Kings can continue to play with the 2 Ps. What do you think the 2 Ps are?
Pace.
Pace.
Power?
No power. Close, though.
Physicality.
Physicality.
Yeah,
I know. What a curveball.
A real curveball.
Physicality.
That's a sweep.
I only got that because my real name's Phil. That's the only reason. There's no way I would have got that.
Great call.
There's no way I would have
way.
got that.
Unfortunately, when we were tracking you for the Boston Marathon, secrets revealed. People were like, no.
Secrets revealed.
this guy?
16, 17 years in.
Well, speaking of Phil, Adelphia,
Nice.
something to watch tonight is if James Harden will actually take a free throw.
He hasn't taken one.
Hasn't taken a free throw in 75 minutes yet.
Wow. And they're
2
up
for
2-0.
Yeah. It hasn't mattered because
Yeah.
they're playing against the Nets.
Yeah.
It will matter going forward. Harden right now is 2 for 13 inside the arc. Like I said, he hasn't taken a free throw yet. I thought he looked fast in game 1. He didn't do much in game 2, period. But maybe the burst isn't totally there. If you're a Sixers fan, you want to see it return a little before they go up against a stronger matchup in the Celtics the next round.
Yeah, that's true. And I just like, for the sake of this series, the Sixers-Nets series, which everybody believes Philadelphia is going to win, ultimately, but win that game 3, Brooklyn, right? To at least convince ourselves, maybe there is a series here. That very important game 4 on the weekend. Ooh, that's must watch. Otherwise, it goes up. They go down 3-0, and it's like now we're just looking at either a gentleman's sweep, which is just a waste of everybody's time, or an actual sweep, and they just wrap it up very quickly. So I hope the Nets give their best effort here tonight and can beat them. I truly believe can take one game. Though Philly hasn't played all that amazing either.
They haven't played great
And they
yet.
they just have to turn it on for a good 8-minute stretch.
Yeah,
and it
that's
feels like
the
enough.
problem.
We will see.
And we haven't even talked about 2 friggin' best
Suns
play.
clips.
Yeah, Suns clips and 2 of the best ever. Kawhi going home, who's been the best player in the series so far, averaging 34.5 through the first 2 games. Can he just will his guys to play with him for 4 quarters? They've been playing great. They had the lead in the 4th, even of the loss. So, yeah, they got to feel ridiculously confident going home.
Hopefully we get some classics tonight. We'll be back tomorrow here for a drop podcast from the No Dunks Classic Factory live at 10 a.m. Eastern. Join us then. Thanks to everybody for joining us live on YouTube. Hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe. Tell your friends. If you're a Survivor fan, coming up in mere hours, live at 1 p.m. Eastern over at No Buffs. We'll be talking about last night's Survivor podcast, which I watched at 6 a.m. this morning.
Ooh, morning watch. All possessions.
Very weird to have Jeff Probst yelling at you while you're trying to sip your coffee.
Jeff Probst was actually a clue in the New York Times crossword puzzle yesterday.
Really?
4 letters. Survivor host Probst.
Wow.
Pretty straightforward
Pretty
if you watch the
easy.
show. Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us here today. We'll see you either later today for that Survivor podcast or tomorrow morning for the drop. Till then, Clipper Bros.
You heard it here first. Have a great time. Turn up. Love you guys. Awesome.
Thanks for joining us, and remember, if you learn from your missteps, that's all anyone can ask of you.
Brace the day, people.